The 1975 Jefferson nickel seems like nothing more than an ordinary 5-cent piece, the kind you pass and change and never think twice about. With Jefferson's face on the obverse and Monticello on the reverse, it's been part of daily American life for decades. But what if I told you that in 1975, a handful of these coins slipped through the minting process with mistakes so striking, so unusual, that they turned a common nickel into a collector's dream? That's the magic of error coins, and the 1,975 nickel carries stories that have shocked collectors and lit up auctions with bids in the thousands. When people hear about valuable coins, they often think of silver dollars, gold pieces, or centuries-old rarities. But the truth is, even a humble nickel can make headlines when struck with a mistake. In 1975, the U.S. Mint produced millions of Jefferson nickels, and most of them were perfectly ordinary. Yet within those millions, machines misfired, dies slipped, and planchets wandered, creating rare and dramatic errors. Each error tells a story, and each error has the potential to transform a coin worth just 5 cents into something worth hundreds, thousands, or even more. One of the most dramatic errors is the off-center strike. Imagine Jefferson's profile shifted to one side, leaving a wide crescent of blank metal on the coin's edge. Sometimes the design is only slightly off, but the most spectacular errors are those where the strike is 50% or more off-center. These pieces look instantly unusual, the kind of coin that makes you pause even if you're not a collector. In recent years, 1975 nickels with severe off-center strikes have appeared in auctions and sold for impressive amounts. Collectors are always eager to compete for coins where the date remains visible despite the dramatic misalignment, since that visibility adds to the appeal and value. Then there are double strikes. Picture a coin that has been struck once, then struck again after shifting slightly. The result is ghostly duplicate images of Jefferson's face or Monticello, layered on top of each other. These pieces look almost like illusions, and their visual drama makes them favorites among error collectors. Auction records show that strong, clear double-struck examples from the 1970s have sold for well over $1,000, with some reaching into the mid-thousands depending on grade and eye appeal. But perhaps the most thrilling errors are wrong planchet strikes. These occur when a blank intended for another denomination sneaks into the nickel press. Suddenly, Jefferson's portrait appears on a dime-sized planchet, or on a planchet with a copper tone instead of nickel's gray. These coins immediately stand out. They feel lighter, smaller, or even the wrong color. When authenticated, wrong planchet coins can be among the most valuable of all errors. A handful of Jefferson nickels struck on dime or cent planchets have shocked collectors by selling for several thousands at auction, with realized prices often crossing the $5,000 mark depending on the exact error and grade. Other types of errors add to the mix. Broad strikes, where the collar fails and the coin spreads wider than usual, give the nickel an odd, stretched appearance. Clipped planchets, where part of the coin is missing due to the blank being cut improperly, create distinctive crescent-shaped bites out of the coin's edge. Filled die strikes, where grease or debris clogs the die and prevents details from being struck, can cause parts of Monticello or Jefferson's features to appear faint or missing. While these errors are often less dramatic than wrong planchets or double strikes, they still attract solid premiums, with values ranging from $100 to $500 or more depending on severity and condition. One of the reasons collectors love the 1975 nickel errors is their connection to a transitional era in American coinage. The Mint was working with large production numbers, modernizing equipment, and keeping up with demand. Yet even in this high-tech environment, mistakes still slip through. Each error reminds us that even in mass production, human oversight and mechanical quirks can leave behind treasures. Auction houses have provided plenty of proof of how valuable these mistakes can be. Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have listed dramatic 1975 nickel errors that drew strong competition. An extreme off-center example once hammered for nearly $2,000, while a dramatic double strike in high grade pushed past $3,000. And wrong planchet examples, the most jaw-dropping of all, have topped $5,000, some approaching the $8,000 range when pristine. Even more modest errors, like broad strikes or small clips, can achieve $300 to $600 in certified condition, proving that collectors will pay a premium for coins that stand out. What's exciting is that many of these coins were discovered in circulation years later. Ordinary people, not just dealers or expert collectors, found them in pocket change, jars of coins, or rolls from the bank. Imagine handing over a nickel at a store, only to realize later that the same coin could have sold at auction for thousands. That element of surprise, the possibility that any handful of change could hide a treasure, keeps collectors searching and keeps the 1975 nickel error alive in the hobby's imagination. But collectors also know the importance of authentication. With so many coins online being advertised as errors, it's easy for newcomers to get confused. Real errors stand out in dramatic, unmistakable ways, and when certified by PCGS, NGC, or Annex, they carry credibility and marketability. Without certification, it's difficult to command top dollar at auction. That's why many collectors who find unusual 1975 nickels send them to grading services. Encapsulated coins with a clear error designation inspire confidence in buyers, which drives prices higher. The market for these coins has been strong for decades, and trends show steady demand. Error collecting has become one of the fastest-growing areas of numismatics, and Jefferson nickel enthusiasts are always hungry for unusual finds. While many coins fetch hundreds, the upper end of the market remains astonishing, with the most dramatic pieces realizing thousands. These results are not just numbers. They're proof of how much passion exists in this area of collecting. The stories are just as compelling as the prices. A collector once described buying a bag of nickels from the bank and spotting an odd-looking coin. After closer inspection, it turned out to be an off-center 1975 nickel that, once graded, sold for over $1,500. Another collector shared how a coin dealer spotted a wrong planchet error among ordinary coins at a show, purchased it for a modest premium, and later watched it sell at auction for nearly $6,000. These anecdotes fuel the hope that others, too, can stumble upon a similar piece of luck. So how can you spot one yourself? Start with the basics. Look at the rims and edges. Off-center strikes and clipped planchets are easiest to see. Check for doubling in the lettering, especially around Liberty and the date. Weigh suspicious coins to see if they match the standard 5 grams of a nickel. Anything lighter or heavier could mean a wrong planchet. Look for color differences too. A coin that appears more coppery than nickel gray might be worth a closer inspection. And always remember, when in doubt, compare with a standard nickel from the same year. The 1975 Jefferson nickel is proof that even ordinary coins can carry extraordinary stories. For most people, it's just a 5-cent piece, but for collectors, the errors are windows into the mint's hidden accidents and a chance to own something truly unique. From a few $100s for modest certified errors to thousands for dramatic wrong planchet strikes, the potential value is undeniable. More importantly, the chase for these coins keeps alive one of the great joys of collecting. The idea that treasures are still out there, waiting to be discovered in the most ordinary of places. So the next time you see a 1975 nickel, don't let it pass through your fingers without a glance. Check the rims, scan Jefferson's face, look at the details. You might be holding a coin that once sold at auction for $3,000 or more. You might be holding a coin worth far more than its face value. And if not, you'll at least know that even the most ordinary change carries with it the possibility of surprise. The 1975 nickel reminds us that in the world of coins, the smallest errors often create the biggest stories, and the tiniest slip at the mint can turn a simple 5-cent piece into a legend. The 1996 United States 5-cent coin, more commonly known as the Jefferson nickel, is a coin that millions of Americans carried in their pockets, handed across counters, or dropped into jars without much thought. At first glance, it is one of the most familiar pieces of American currency, showing the left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his Monticello home on the reverse. To the untrained eye, there seems to be nothing remarkable about it. Yet, as history and collectors have proven again and again, even the most ordinary-looking coins can sometimes hide secrets. The 1996 nickel is one such coin, and in the world of minting errors and numismatic treasure hunts, it has left behind a trail of discoveries that have shocked ordinary people and captured the attention of collectors everywhere. When it comes to Jefferson nickels, errors have always fascinated the collecting community. The 1996 issue is no exception. It was produced in vast numbers at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and because of the sheer volume, a handful of flawed coins slipped past quality control. These errors, while unintentional, transformed some 1996 nickels from simple pocket change into coveted rarities. The beauty of this lies not only in the coin itself but also in the fact that the errors were found by people who might not even have been looking. Someone digging through a change jar, a kid rolling coins for the bank, or a collector scanning through hundreds of nickels only to have one coin leap out because something about it was off. Among the most prominent and recognizable errors on 1996 nickels are off-center strikes. In these cases, Jefferson's face can appear shifted to one side, leaving a crescent of blank space on the opposite edge. Minor off-center strikes might only show a slight shift, but when the misalignment reaches 30, 40, or even 50%, the coin becomes a showpiece. Collectors especially prize these when the date remains visible, as it allows for clear attribution to the year. Such examples, especially in uncirculated condition, can realize thousands at auction, with one well-preserved off-center strike from 1996 selling for over $4,000 in competitive bidding. Another class of errors that made 1996 nickels desirable are double die varieties. These errors occur when the die that strikes the coin is improperly created with a doubled design. The result is inscriptions or details that appear to have a ghostly second image. On Jefferson nickels, this can be seen in the lettering Liberty or In God We Trust on the obverse, or in the details of Monticello on the reverse. When bold doubling is present, collectors become aggressive bidders, driving prices into the thousands. One double die reverse example from 1996 shocked bidders when it reached more than $7,000 at a major numismatic auction. Even more dramatic are wrong planchet errors, where the Jefferson nickel design was struck on a planchet meant for another denomination. For the 1996 issue, there are reports of nickels struck on copper-colored cent planchets or silvery dime planchets. These are the kinds of errors that collectors dream about because they are so visually striking. Imagine holding what looks like a copper penny, only to realize that Jefferson's portrait is stamped on it. Such coins are not only rare but also valuable, often selling for tens of thousands of dollars when they come up for auction. In fact, one 1996 nickel struck on a cent planchet hammered for over $15,000, and another struck on a dime planchet fetched nearly $20,000. Clipped planchet errors also exist for this date. These occur when the blank piece of metal cut for striking was improperly punched, leaving a curved bite taken out of the coin. These errors are less dramatic than wrong planchets but still highly collectible. Depending on size and visibility, clipped planchets from 1996 nickels have sold from several hundred to several $1,000s. Struck through errors, where foreign materials such as grease or fibers interfered during the striking process, also make 1996 nickels unique. These errors might create missing details in Jefferson's face or obscure parts of Monticello. While some are relatively minor, others can completely transform the appearance of the coin, making them one-of-a-kind collectibles. Strong struck-through errors have crossed the auction block for more than $2,000. What makes all of this even more captivating is how these coins find their way into the hands of ordinary people. Many of the most valuable 1996 nickel errors were discovered not by professional dealers but by casual collectors and everyday folks. Stories of people turning a simple nickel into thousands of dollars inspire new treasure hunters every day. In one remarkable case, a teenager searching through a bag of coins from the bank spotted a 1996 nickel with a dramatic off-center strike. That coin later sold at auction for nearly $5,000, proving that fortune really can be found in everyday change. Auction houses that feature these coins often describe them with great flair, and the bidding wars that erupt over them confirm just how highly they are valued. In fact, some of the highest results for 1996 nickel errors have approached and even exceeded $20,000 for dramatic wrong planchet examples in pristine mint state condition. These are not isolated cases but part of a broader trend in numismatics where modern errors, once dismissed as novelties, are now commanding respect and serious money. The symbolism of the Jefferson nickel makes these errors all the more appealing. Jefferson was a founding father, the principal author of the Declaration of Independence, and the third president of the United States. His image on the coin represents ideals of democracy, liberty, and leadership. When errors appear on such a coin, they create an ironic but meaningful juxtaposition. Perfection was the goal, but imperfection created something rare and highly valued. Collectors are drawn to that narrative as much as to the coin itself. The lesson of the 1996 nickel errors is clear. Never dismiss a coin as worthless without examining it carefully. What looks like an ordinary 5-cent piece could turn out to be a hidden gem worth thousands. The best auction prices for these coins prove this beyond any doubt. One dramatic off-center example brought nearly $5,000. A double-die variety reached more than $7,000. Wrong planchet strikes soared into the five-figure range, with examples realizing over $15,000 and $20,000. These numbers are staggering when you consider that the coin's face value is only 5 cents. The stories of discovery continue to inspire collectors. Every year, new examples surface, tucked away in coin collections or found by those willing to take the time to search. As awareness grows, so too does demand, and with demand comes even higher prices at auction. For collectors, this makes the 1996 nickel one of the modern series' most exciting years. So the next time you come across a Jefferson nickel from 1996, don't just toss it aside or spend it without a glance. Study it carefully. Look for doubling in the lettering, for Jefferson's face slightly off-center, for strange coloration that might suggest a wrong planchet. Examine the edges for clips and the fields for unusual textures that could indicate a struck-through error, because hidden in those details could be a coin that turns your 5 cents into 5,000, 10,000, or even more. That is the enduring magic of the 1996 nickel errors. They remind us that mistakes, though unintended, can sometimes be the most valuable creations of all. They transform the ordinary into the extraordinary, the everyday into the unforgettable. And they keep alive the thrill of the hunt, inspiring countless collectors to check their change one more time, just in case the next great discovery is waiting right there in the palm of their hand.